Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to discover the winner of 2021 JEC Korea Startup Booster. As a reminder, Startup Booster is the leading competition in the field of composites and advanced materials. Launched in 2017 at JEC World, Startup Booster has already fostered the emergence of 500 plus innovative projects from more than 50 countries. 안녕하십니까. 오늘의 사회를 맡은 무역협회 김세아입니다. 2021년 JEC 코리아 스타트업 부스터 최종 우승기업 시상식이 있겠습니다. 간략하게 말씀드리자면 스타트업 부스터는 복합 소재 부품 분야의 선구적인 경진대회입니다. 2017년 시작으로 하여 지금까지 50여 개국의 참여 속에 500건 이상의 혁신 프로젝트를 진행해 왔습니다. The 5 finalists startups presented their innovation yesterday in front of the jury. The jury deliberated right after the session yesterday to select the winner of this edition of Startup Booster at JEC Korea 2021. 심사위원분들께서는 어제 5개의 업체 발표 후 고심 끝에 JEC 코리아 스타트업 부스터 최종 우승자를 선정하셨습니다. The winner that will be announced in a few minutes will benefit from the following: a 3,000 euro cash prize, a booth at JEC Korea 2022, but above all, the winner will be automatically selected as finalists for the final Startup Booster at JEC World 2022 in Paris. 우승자에게는 다음의 혜택이 주어집니다. 3,000 유로의 상금, 2022년 JEC 코리아 부스, 그리고 그 무엇보다 2022년 3월 8일에서 10일까지 열리는 JEC 월드 스타트업 부스터 결승 진출의 기회를 얻게 됩니다. But before we announce the winner, I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Dongki Lee, Executive Managing Director of Startup and Innovation Group at the Korea International Trade Association. Mr. Lee, welcome on stage, and could you please explain KITA's startup support programs? 최종 우승자 발표하기 전에 한국무역협회 혁신성장본부 이동기 상무님으로부터 한국무역협회 스타트업 지원 사업에 대한 설명 부탁드리겠습니다.
예, 안녕하십니까.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
한국무역협회 혁신성장본부장.
I am Dongki Lee, the director of the Innovation and Startup Group from the Korea International Trade Association. I would like to take off my mask to do the presentation. First of all, before I would like to talk about our startup promoting projects that we do at KITA, I would like to first of all thank you, JEC World, JEC Korea, as well as Promo Salon, as well as all staff who have worked hard to make today's event possible.
제가 불어로 이렇게 프레젠테이션을 해야 돼요.
I should be talking in French actually. However, since we have more Korean guests, I would like to do my presentation in Korean. Please do understand me. Thank you very much.
저희 한국무역협회 코리아 인터내셔널
So I would like to talk about our association, which is KITA, and we were established in 1946. And we have a long history, right? It's been already 70 years since we have been established, and we have been supporting SMEs to do marketing activities and to go abroad. We've been helping them to expand their business. And for the past 3 and 4 years, we've been promoting startup companies so that they could advance abroad.
왜 저희 무역협회가
So why did we start to support the SMEs and the startups? And why did we start helping the startups instead of only helping the SMEs? If you go to Jongno, there's a district where a lot of jewelry shops are located. And in the past, we used to export a lot of jewelries. And we also exported a lot of stationeries and toys. But as you can see in this picture above, you can see President Barack Obama. This is when he made his first, this is when he was elected the second time. It was his inauguration day. So including himself, the whole family was looking at their smartphones. And you can see below, you can see the autonomous driving vehicles. And within that inside that car, the driving is done autonomously. And people who are in that car, what do? They do entertainment.
메타버스를 하고
And they are engaged in metaverse and they will be watching movies.
위에 보면 이제 메타버스 제페토에
On the top right, you can see the metaverse image.
얼마 전에
So, Gucci,
상에서
in the metaverse world, they actually, the price of the bag was 3.5 million, but they sold it at a higher price. It is not a real bag, it is a virtual bag. However, it was sold at 4.5 million Korean won. So why do you think the consumers buy that?
메타버스에 입장할 때
Because first, of course, people buy that because they want to use it in the metaverse world, but because the price and the value of that bag will become bigger in the future. And that's the thought of the MZ generation, and that's why they bought it at a higher price than the real one. So the world is changing. You can see in the past we used to export jewelries, stationeries, and toys. And in the past, we just had to focus on our own industry. However, now, as we are using smartphones, we will be driving autonomous cars, driving vehicles, and we will be having the metaverse. So it's not only about my industry, but also other industries. We will have to go beyond borders, beyond countries. If we don't do that well, then we won't be able to survive in this new world.
무역협회가
So that is why KITA, our organization, started to change. You can see that companies are cooperating and working together with startups. So the CVC was made to support the startups, and today we also have this JEC startup boosting session. So we have a lot of competitions in place. We also have accelerators to support the SMEs, and we also provide office spaces to those startups. So through various methods, large companies are supporting the survival of startups. And not only that, large companies in the past, they only had their own R&D centers, but nowadays all these researches and development, they identify and source startups so that they could procure that kind of technology from those startups. And what they do is they will make those technologies into end products. And that is the so-called separated work that is being done. So KITA, in that regard, of course, we have member companies, which are large companies, medium-sized companies, and also SMEs. But in this changed environment, we want to make them be sustainable. We have to help them to keep their sustainability as well as so that they can also grow and develop and that they can advance into the global arena and that they can become the new global exporting players. And we support them in many ways. And that is what we do at KITA, and that's why we are doing these businesses with the startups. So you can see in this slide, probably you've seen this picture at COEX first floor. So together with the Fortune 500 companies, we connect Korean companies with the Fortune 500 companies, and also together with the SMEs and medium-sized companies, we help them to cooperate with the startups, and also we utilize our network so that the startups can go abroad and do their own businesses over there. So probably you've read in the newspapers that we've also helped BMW, Amazon, and Korean startups to get together to do business together. And as I've told you already, we have about 60 global brands. Together with 60 global brands, we've connected about 10,000 Korean startups with those global brands. And among those brands, we have Starbucks, Bosch, Ford, Airbus, Daimler, Chrysler, Chanel, Volkswagen, many companies that we work with. And for Amazon launch, Launchpad, we identify innovative products and we help them to do marketing more easily.
저희 무역협회가 추천한 많은 기업들이
So there are many companies that we suggested, and they were able to increase sales by working with Amazon. And for the Benz project, I'll talk about it a little bit later. And for Seoul Robotics, together with BMW, we have developed this is a company that develops the rider, and they are working closely with BMW. And also Urban Base is a company that focuses on before placing the furniture, that they can see the placement of furniture. And together with Kita, we are cooperating with Nitori so that Urban Base can work with Nitori, which is a Korean startup. The Urban Base is a Korean startup, so that they can provide their services by working with Nitori in the own shops of Nitori in Japan.
예를 들면 저희가 이제 올 초에
And also in the beginning of this year, together with the HQ of Starbucks, we have done open innovation, and many Korean startups
본사하고 이제 연결이 됐습니다.
were connected to the HQ of Starbucks, which is located in Seattle. Because all the voices that we get, the AI will be recognizing all those voices and sound, and so that danger can be detected earlier. So those kinds of projects have taken place, and also through digital signage, we could also see the menu and price of Starbucks products. So that is down graph. And also we could see 3D images without wearing glasses. Those kinds of projects were done. And metaverse of Naver, which is called Zepeto.
거기서 이제
Starbucks will be utilizing that technology as well. And even without having to touch the menu, we can still touch the menu through remote touch. And that technology was also developed. And at Starbucks, the autonomous robot can serve the coffee. So those kinds of projects were made through the cooperation with Starbucks.
실제 저희 현장에서 기술을 검증을
So we would have to validate the technologies, and for the startups, even if they have good products and technologies, they need to be able to test it before they commercialize it. If they don't have that kind of a record, then it will be hard for them to export their products. So to the startups, we tell them we don't just connect them with the brands, but we help them test. And we provide those opportunities that they can actually test their products and technologies on site.
저희가 이제 그 벤츠랑 하는 아마
And together with Benz, probably those of you from Germany have already heard, there is the so-called Autobahn program, and we've done that together with BMW. And
자동차의 급발진 사태
there was this sudden acceleration accident from Toyota, and for other sort of electrical vehicles, there are several of issues. So we have done open innovation with BMW in order to prevent those kinds of accidents and issues. So last September at Chilla Hotel, in order to identify the startups, we have held a conference, a convention, and we have identified several companies like Deepfine, May I, Dieter King, Lancome, Owen, and Benz. Through innovation, they don't do that alone, but they will be working together with other large companies. As you can see, they work with SK Telecom, LG Electronics, so that they can discover the startups by looking at their business models. Because some startups will be working with Benz, some with SK Telecom, some with LG Electronics. So the reason why they do that is because, as I said earlier, all industries, all technologies are converged. It's no longer about just one industry. And that's why they do this together.
또 최근에 한 저희가 이제
And recently we have done a very interesting project, which is
그 로리아스 쇼핑몰이라고
together with Gloria's shopping mall in Barcelona. It's a retail chain, and we have sent 5 Korean startups and have conducted the test bed. And we had a great feedback back then. As you can see,
랩이라고
we have the E-Cube lab. So we use the solar energy to collect waste. Or within the shopping mall, we have this metaverse technology in order to run the aquarium. And without wearing glasses, we can watch 3D images. So we have conducted various projects. So Korean startups went to Spain to do these projects. So people in Spain, they were very much interested, and the consumers visited and saw these projects, and the media was greatly interested in it. And after that, other shopping malls, or like for the Gaudi structures, they suggested us so that we could do the projects together as well. And subsequently, we have conducted another project with another shopping mall called Lia, and also Casa Patio, which is Gaudi's structure. And this is our plan to do other projects. And in the United States, we are working with Walmart, UPS, Sam's Club, Tyson Foods. Together with those global brands, we are working to do the POC of startups. And as you can see here, with Walmart, we have conducted the odd concept in order to suggest the styles, or together with Walmart. You know, there are a lot of parking lots in Walmart. So what we do is we give them solutions so that they can buy secondhand bicycles. And you know, Chelsea Stadium in the UK, we're also working with them, as well as Vodafone. So at the Chelsea Stadium, we are conducting the Fit Together project, which allows the players to have these devices on their uniforms. So based on that data, we can manage the performance of the soccer players. So that project is currently in progress. And also the Visual Camp project is to be able to see where the user is looking at. Together with Vodafone, we are doing this POC project. So Kita is not only connecting Korean startups with global brands, but also we are connecting global startups. We're connecting them with Korean large companies. So we are doing this crosswise. So that's why we have this so-called Inno branch platform, and we want to expand this business so that starting from next year, we will be having this kind of a model where we will be in the center. We will be providing the test beds from Korea and make sure that the overseas companies and businesses, they can also provide the test beds for Korean companies, and we can do that vice versa. So that Korean companies can do the test bedding in overseas countries, and overseas companies can also come to Korea to do the test beds as well. So this is the so-called Next Rise startup event that we hold. And there are many Korean companies and global companies, VCs and startups that are joining in this event. As the project that we have done with Daimler Chrysler, together with KT, we have conducted a startup innovation demo day project with KT, and Uri Bank, Hyundai, Dongwon, and LG Electronics in order to discover startups and provide them the testbed opportunities. COEX itself, in order to become the testbed for the startups, we are also working closely with other organizations. You can see there's also Hyundai Department Store, there's also the CAAM, and CALT, GKL, Grand Korea Leisure. It's a casino. And at this casino, we utilize the Cleon AI. It's an AI figure. And this AI would speak in Korean, Chinese, and in English, and introduce Korean sites and food. So that is a service that we also work together with them with GKL, which is a casino. And lastly, today, we are holding the Startup Booster session at JEC Korea. together with JEC Group, we are holding this event, and many startups are joining us in this event. And I hope that we will see great performance and see great outcomes. Thank you very much.
Please give a warm round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Can you please stay on the stage to announce the winner of this edition of the JEC Korea Startup Booster? 상무님 감사합니다. JEC 코리아 스타트업 부스터 최종 우승자 발표를 부탁드리겠습니다.
예, 제가 어제 그 스타트업 부스터에 전시된 제품들을 다 사실은 돌아봤는데 모두
So I believe that all our candidates had great products and technologies, and also the jury had to make a lot of thoughts in order to select only one team. And as far as I know, the finalist of this session will be Dongnam Realize. Once again, congratulations.
네, 함께 심사하셨던 위원분들께서도 올라오셔서
Also, please, the jury, can
사진
you come
촬영
to the podium?
Thank you and congratulations. Don't forget that you can meet the winner and the finalists in the Startup Village of JEC Korea 2021. Don't miss the opportunity to discuss with them. The JEC Korea 2021 Startup Booster Awards ceremony has now come to an end. Thanks once again for your participation. Thanks also to the 5 startups and the jury. See you next year.